allowing me this opportunity to come before you this evening to share with you some of the work that we do in our early childhood program, in particular our preschool program. Our motto in early childhood is many hands, one heart for children. And if you look really hard at that screen, you'll see your hand in there. The fact that you're here tonight, the fact that you're concerned about the educational journey of the children in Plainfield Public School, your hand is definitely one of the hands that we talk about when we say many hands, one heart. Now, I know you've often heard me say, Plainfield Public School has one of the best early childhood programs in the state of New Jersey. I'd probably rather say that it is the best, but I would be a little bit biased. But what affirmed that we're one of the best and maybe the best is that the Bill Gates Foundation sought Plainfield out to come into our district a few years ago to look at what we were doing, to look at our quality, how we were implementing a preschool program, to take that back and spread it across the nation. So I think I'm pretty good at saying we're the best. And when we say that, there are some things that contribute to Plainfield's high quality. And I just want to give you a glimpse of what that's like. I can't go through everything because of time constraints, but I just want to tell you some of the elements. Adequate funding. 20 years ago when the Abbott decision was made, the state really put their money where their mouth was in terms of high quality. They gave us enough funding to adequately have the human capital that we needed to implement this program. Code was written to the effect that it had every element that you could think of. And what we did in Plainfield is just took it beyond the standard. Mediocrity is not enough. So with that being said, in our office alone, early childhood on Berkman, we have a staff of 24. Elena, would you please give your line in the packet for the board? This presentation is in there, that's slipped by mine. So that they can see the organizational chart and what makes up that staff of 24. Another key element that I strongly believe that made our quality so high is the community partnerships with our child care centers. We're known as having one of the best advisory councils in the state of New Jersey because of its diversity. And we partner a lot with the city of Plainfield. We write grants together to enhance our program, and I can call on the fire department, the police department, the mayor, the business administrator, and get just about all of early childhood's needs met. So there is a very strong partnership with the city. Plainfield, right now, probably is unique in our model. We have all of our preschool children in the child care community. None are in our elementary schools. Most districts, there's a mix, 50-50 oftentimes. Oftentimes all the 4-year-olds are in district and the 3-year-olds are out of district. But in Plainfield, and that's due to facility challenges, but I thought it was a good decision to work what we already had and build. Another thing that contributes to the quality is collaboration. That's within our district, our departments, HR, special services, world language, the business office, and our elementary principals. I go to state meetings, and I often hear about how they're fighting with their business administrator to get their special ed money for the inclusion children. Gary just puts it in on the map. So it's those kinds of partnerships that really contribute to the quality. We're not fighting over money. It's going where it needs to go and do what it needs to do. Trust and respect has been key to these 20 years of implementing this program among all the stakeholders. Fidelity to the implementation of the high school curriculum. Now you often hear is preschool preparing the children for kindergarten. The philosophy of high school is we not only prepare them for kindergarten, we prepare them for the world. And that's what I really liked about that particular curriculum when it was selected. With the integrity for 20 years, integrating project-based learning. And we all know that that's the way children learn, from their interest, hands-on learning, cross-content instruction. Instructional support, coaches. Early childhood is special. It's a different animal in the education world. And our teachers have two coaches. They have one that supports them in the implementation of our curriculum, and they have another coach that just supports them in ensuring that our children's social, emotional skills are developed. Research says if you're not sound socially, emotionally, learning can't even take place. So as preschoolers, we have to make sure that that foundation is laid. Our center directors and the vice principal of early childhood, Ms. Rutherford, are responsible for another measure of quality, and that's teacher evaluations. In early childhood, we implement the Danielson, just as you do K-12. And I think Plainfield was one of the first early childhood programs to do that before it was mandated by the state. I always believe to be on the cutting edge. The next element that plays into our quality is various classroom assessment instruments. Master teachers go in, they conduct what's called an ECRS and a PQA. ECRS looks at the staff-child interaction. The PQA looks at the implementation of the curriculum. Our master teachers also go in because of our 75% population of ELs, English language learners, and they conduct an instrument to see how the children are receiving in 2 languages. And then the TAPinto goes in and looks at social emotional development. So all of those instruments and that data is used to make improvements. Other services, health services, interventionists, parent engagement. Every 45 to 1 children have a family worker. 1 family worker for 45 children to support families. Consistency and leadership. 20 years ago, I know I don't look it, but 20 years ago, Dr. Leverett put a box in my hand and said, Evelyn, this is early childhood. And I'm still here doing what I love. So consistency in leadership has contributed to the quality of this program. We do bilingual program where we give our preschoolers instruction 2 days in Spanish, they get Spanish instruction, and 3 days in English. And that aligns to what will happen in our K program. We're data-driven. Data drives everything for us. Instruction, professional development, team meetings are all discussions around data. Parent involvement, home libraries. Our children have libraries established in their homes. Then they have lending libraries in their classrooms where the parents check out books on a daily basis while they're picking children up to read. Reading is fundamental. Family engagement is very important and key. We cannot educate our children without our families. Now I want to talk about a few accomplishments, and I went back to July 2017 up until now, today. We usually do year of accomplishments, but I wanted to bring it up to today. The state comes in and assesses early childhood programs for equality. When we got our review from the state, we fully met and exceeded the New Jersey standards for high quality programs. 4 of our child care centers that we contract with have been rated by the state. They now rate early childhood programs like they do restaurants. So you know when you go sit down in a 5-star restaurant, you're eating and dining well. Well, they do the same type of rating, but in preschool programs, they look at quality. So out of the 4 that we accomplished, 1 is a 5-star, 1 is a 4, and 2 are 3. So I think that deserves a round of applause. Our preschool teachers met their student growth objectives. Yes, we do student growth objectives in preschool, but a little more than they do in the K-12 program. Usually teachers have 2, our teachers have 4. As I mentioned, the social emotional development portion, they also have SGOs in that area along with math and language arts. We had an issue, as many districts across the state in preschool, chronic absenteeism, because children are young and there are a lot of germs that they spread. We've decreased that over this period of time from 73% to 70%. And we have some goals with that in the next slide. The Director of Early Childhood was requested by the state to present to superintendents, principals, and teachers at a state summit back in this past November about best practices from preschool to third grade. Dr. Belani talks about that all the time. That's something we're working on in our district, and you'll hear a little bit more about that when we talk about our goals. Also, I was requested to sit on a panel when they did a celebration back in April 2018. They brought the entire state together. I was on a panel with the judge that ruled on the advocacy. And what they wanted me to do is share from a district perspective, what does it take to make quality? So that's another affirmation of one of the best. This particular slide here talks about student outcomes. And the graph to the right shows that 70% of our preschool students leave ready for school. That means ready for kindergarten. You can't see the legend on the bottom, but that's what green means. Yellow means they're in progress to readiness for school, and there's a little teeny red line at the top that says that they're not ready. So 70%. I hope anybody reports that. Also on the far right, I don't know if you can see, but it talks about a population of our rising fours going to kindergarten. Out of our 1,530, it's 777 will be going off to kindergarten. Of that number, I think that's 547 are English language learners, and 59 are children with IEPs. They are factored into the 70% in terms of meeting the standards of school readiness. On the bottom is a graph looking at our 3-year-olds and our 4-year-olds in different content areas. At the end of June, that's where they were. Our goals for this school year is full enrollment, always the goal. This Saturday's mass registration. We'll be there from 9 o'clock in the morning at my office, Berkman, till about 2. We usually register about 200 children at mass registration events. Then we have a Tuesday, the 12th and 14th, from 5 to 9 for the parents that work and need to come in the evening. Our total enrollment is 1,530 students, 3- and 4-year-olds. It's usually a 50-50 mix. Even with the males and females, we find that to be quite interesting. This year we opened 2 additional classrooms. We contract with 10 community centers, 17 sites, 102 classrooms. Another thing we wanted to do this year is enhance our STEAM into our classrooms. We already do it, but we wanted to work with our teachers to use more of the academic language and be more intentional with the STEAM program. We've enhanced our lesson plans, so we're scaffolding learning in every content area. We want to increase the number of rated centers by 3 this year. And we want to improve our father involvement program. We started that last year, where we set up libraries in the local barbershops. The fathers manned that initiative, and so we're expanding that now to beauty shops, so that when they take their children to get a haircut or their hair done, they will be reading in those establishments. And our plan is to continue to decrease chronic absenteeism this year by 10%, resulting in a 20%. That's something that's more acceptable. We want to enhance our preschool to third grade articulation. We've done a lot of work already in that area, but we want to continue to work there. This year we've enrolled one of our elementary schools in a program, the Nicholson Foundation. I applied for a grant. They accepted Plainfield, so I will be working with Evergreen School this year, their staff, to implement preschool to third grade initiative. We did it with Jefferson and Barlow 2 years ago, and our goal is to spread this initiative all over our elementary schools. As new kindergarten teachers come in, we're in an initiative with the state where we send them for those pre-K through third grade practices. Full implementation of electronic portfolios. In September, kindergarten teachers will receive their preschool students' portfolio and sample of work, where they end up academically, so that in June, a teacher will know her students, know where they are, and be able to plan accordingly. That's something I'd like to push up to that third grade level as well. And we do it right in Genesis. Didn't cost any money, we just used what was in the system. Enhance our PKRT program. That's where kindergarten and preschool teachers come together periodically. They unpack the standards, preschool standards, kindergarten standards. What we wanted to do is to eliminate the finger pointing that often happens in education. Preschool didn't do their job. Then the first grade teacher said kindergarten didn't do their job. And so when everyone knows what they're aspiring to do, then that eliminates the finger pointing, and that's what we found with that initiative. Project-based learning. It happens in preschool, it happens in kindergarten. We want to make sure that that's consistent all the way up to third grade. And we want to take our principals along with their kindergarten teachers to visit what's going on in preschool. Someone mentioned Mr. Wyatt, the bus tour. And we had quite a few board members that were there and were very impressed with what they saw. So we feel it's important for teachers to know where the children are coming from and what they're exposed to, so that they know where to take them to the next educational level. And the last thing is, a goal this year was to contribute to the district's branding. Now, we've been hearing about branding for a while now. So early childhood want to step back. And so we're going to share with you this evening what that looks like. And the producer of our video is here. I'd like her to stand. Ms. White is one of our master teachers. And she came up with this idea. And I said, well, let's go for it. Another thing or goal that we're doing in Plainfield is we're building for our future, which are our children. And the district is putting up a wonderful state-of-the-art elementary school that's coming up. But on the early childhood side, we're at work as well. My funding does not fund capital improvement. But our directors have thought out of the box. They went under rocks, and they got money to build their own facilities. And this is one of the latest ones, South 2nd Street on Plainfield Avenue, that we got to see it in action on the bus tour. This is Hope's on 7th Street and Leland Avenue. They're bringing all of their programs except one that's New Horizon, that's behind McDonald's, that's in the center of town. That's going to stay there. But in September, all of Head Start Hope's will be in the 2 Armory buildings that are up there. Neighborhood House has been in this community for over 80 years. To the right, the colorful building is their existing facility. Right now, half of their program is in this senior citizen development on Front and Westerville. That's like a swing school, because this will come down, and very soon there will be groundbreaking for another state-of-the-art early childhood center in Plainfield. So proud of our center directors. So I'd just like to say thank you to the board for allowing me to share with you some of the things that we're doing, Dr. Belande, and as well as the community at large. So I talked about branding. We know that we have some competition in district, and that's our charter schools, and our children choosing to go there. So we wanted to begin selling our kindergarten program, because it's not business as usual where you just wait, they automatically come. Parents have choices now, and that's not a bad thing. But we have to arm ourselves and be prepared to compete. So this video is an effort at branding Plainfield Public Schools kindergarten program.